In today's mixing quick tip, I'm going to demonstrate a very simple but very effective stereo widening technique. A very common thing to do is to use a plugin to get the stereo widening, and you do this by creating a delay between the left and the right signal. So I'll show you 3 different plugins that are going to achieve essentially the same thing, and then I'm going to show you a way to do this with just the tracks themselves. So I'm using Cubase to do this demonstration, so I've pulled up 2 stock Cubase plugins that will do the job. The first is the mixer delay, the second is the stereo delay. So what we're doing is we're adding roughly between 8 to 12 milliseconds between the left and the right signal. And you can do that by delaying the right signal, or you can do that by delaying the left signal. And the range of 8 to 12 is essentially like a pure stereo spread. Once you start getting up to about, 16, 18, and into the 20s, then you start to actually hear and differentiate the 2 sources, and it's starting to sound like a little bit more of an echo or a pre-delay, like you're in a big room or something. So I'm going to play the song with the delays bypassed, and then I'm going to engage them halfway through so you can hear the difference between them. So as you can hear, we're spreading the bass line synth, and it gets much wider with the plugin on. And if we use the stereo delay plugin, it would be essentially the exact same thing. The benefit to using the stereo delay plugin, though, is that you have actual control of the panning. So you can use the same effect, but not use it completely hard left and right panned. The other thing you can do is you can filter off a certain frequency range for the left side and then filter off a different frequency range for the right side. So you can get some more inconsistency between the left and the right, which creates the illusion that it's wider and more distinct in the left and the right speakers. So it'll sound wider and maybe even more pleasing when there's difference between the 2 signals. And of course, there are some stereo widening type plugins on the market that do basically exactly that same trick or logic of delaying the left and the right signal, but they might also do something a little bit more. So in this case, the Microshift by Soundtoys, it not only delays the signal, you have the variability between a very tight signal, which sounds more pure, and then a very loose signal, which sounds like you're in a big room. You also have a detune effect, which is a variable amount of detuning between the 2 signals. So it has like a bit more of a widening and variation and modulation to create interest in the stereo spectrum. Then you also have 3 styles to choose from, so it has kind of just a slight difference in character. You also have the ability to focus that effect on a certain frequency range. So you can focus on just the high-end frequencies and spread them out. Or you could do the entire signal, or you can do half and half. You also have a dry and a wet knob, so you can do half the signal at half the wetness with some of the detune and half delay or something. So there's lots of variability within certain plugins like the Microshift. Then we have certain plugins that are more like tools, like the Brainworks BX Control version 2 that I have here. This stereo width knob here, it cranks it up and just spreads the signal out. And this would be a little bit more of that like pure stereo width tool essence to it. Like it's just purely taking the signal and just spreading it as wide as possible, or at least as wide as you're designating it to be. The other thing you can do if you don't use plugins, most DAWs will actually have a track delay setting, and this is usually in milliseconds. In Cubase, it's right up here. So what you want to do is you want to duplicate the track that you want widened. In this case, this is a stereo track. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pan this all the way hard left, our duplicate all the way hard right. And then this track, we're going to do the exact same thing as the plugin we were using, is we're going to delay it by 8 milliseconds. And because we're duplicating the track, it's actually doubling the volume of that track. So I'm turning it down by -3 dB. And feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what is your stereo widening technique that you use. So thanks for watching. Take care and bye-bye.